I still hear the echo of the rain slapping against my windshield, a chaotic symphony of droplets that mirrored the wild racing of my heart. It was just another ordinary Wednesday, and I had spent the previous hours juggling deadlines at work, but an unsettling feeling simmered beneath my skin, a gnawing anxiety wound tight like poorly tied shoelaces. I hadn't seen my sister, Olivia, in a while, and despite the distance, her presence always had a way of creeping into my thoughts. Now, as I backed out of my parking space at the office, I met my own reflection in the rearview mirror. Julia, the responsible one, the independent one. On the outside, I seemed composed, 2 degrees, a decent job, and a cozy apartment. But inside, I struggled, feeling the weight of expectations I never asked for, clinging desperately to the belief that if I just continued to excel, love and acceptance would surely follow. As I merged onto the highway, my phone buzzed with a notification. I checked the screen, pausing long enough to feel a pang of hope. Was it Olivia? Instead, it was a brief, cold message from my father. "Need to talk. It's about Olivia." Just like that, my heart sank. It was always Olivia. Sure enough, my mind spiraled, dwelling on every little moment when I was sidelined. Every family dinner spent watching my dad and Olivia converse while I picked at my food, frustrated that I seemed so invisible. But of course, I wasn't dying, just another day in my role as the strong sister. As I sped home, my anxiety gnawed at me, desperately trying to twist itself into reality when all I wanted was calm. Why did I always have to assume the role of the rational one? But there was a voice in my head reminding me I was alone. When I finally reached my apartment, I threw my keys onto the counter and sank into the couch, replaying the earlier message. Part of me yearned to reach out to Olivia to offer solace, but I knew she'd be spiraling in her own turmoil. Just then, my phone buzzed again. This time it was a familiar number. Olivia. I answered immediately, but the voice on the other end cut through me like a knife. "Julia, I don't think I can do this anymore," she sobbed. "What happened?" I asked, heart racing. "I lost my job, again, and Dad is just..." "He's seething, Julia. This time, I can't take any more of his lectures. I need you." I felt my insides twist, torn between the urge to extend my hand and the deep-rooted resentment that had been simmering under the surface for so long. "You need me, or he needs me?" I asked cautiously, hoping to direct the conversation back to her if only for a moment. "Why can't you just understand? I can't keep standing on my own. I don't have anyone else." Those words hit me like a freight train, leaving me breathless. It wasn't the first time Olivia had leaned on me, but the question flared up again. When did my need for recognition from my family, the need to be seen, start to feel futile? My mother had passed away years ago, and it was then that I had taken on the role of not just the sister, but the caregiver, the mediator. My solace lay in the unspoken rule that if I just kept being strong, things would eventually balance out, and perhaps one day even Olivia would notice how exhausting it was. There was silence on the other end of the line, a suffocating heaviness created by the distance between us. I needed to set boundaries. "I can't keep bailing you out, Olivia. I love you, but I feel like I'm the only one trying." Her breath hitched. Before she could respond, I pressed on. "I had so much going on myself. When you keep making mistakes and I keep picking up the pieces, I end up empty, and I don't want to feel that way anymore." "Oh, okay," she whispered. But I could hear the sadness in her voice, the faint crack of vulnerability. But before she could finish, the line suddenly dropped. An inexplicable rush of panic raced through me. Was this the moment we had both been waiting for? The moment where I finally put myself first? I'd spent evenings listening to self-help podcasts, hoping to gain the courage to reclaim my life away from the shadows of my family's expectations. Yet all I felt was an unfathomable sorrow. I collapsed back against the couch pillows, my phone still pressed against my ear. I'd awakened something long buried, a realization that maybe love shouldn't come at the expense of my own well-being. Days turned into weeks, my work became an escape, yet my heart felt heavy weighing down in my chest. I watched as Olivia spiraled deeper into the rabbit hole, her struggles tugging at my own tightly closed heart. I wanted to be there. I wanted to save her, but at what cost? Each day I found myself drowning deeper, losing fragments of who I was inside. And then, just when I thought I couldn't take it anymore, I got a call from my dad. "Julia," he said, "I need to talk to you." His tone was stern and I braced myself. "If this is about Olivia," I began, cutting him off, "I can't keep being the one to solve her problems. I'm calling because she needs us." The frustration surged through me. "You mean she needs me? You've never valued my strength, Dad. You only see her vulnerabilities and you expect me to pick up the pieces." He fell silent, and for a moment I thought the call had ended. But then I heard him whisper, I had to make sure she was okay. But what about me? I hung up before he could respond, feeling a blaze of pain coursing through my veins. I sat on the couch for hours, reeling, my heart caught between rage and grief. I wanted to scream at the injustice, but more than that, I felt a sense of weightlessness that came from finally choosing my own well-being over the chaos that had become my family. Weeks later, after another tumultuous phone call with Olivia, I found myself driving through the quiet streets of my neighborhood. My heart still raced from the argument, but somewhere in the midst of the tension, I had felt a thread of clarity weave its way into my thoughts. I needed change, not just for Olivia, but for myself. As I lay in bed that night, my mind raced through the potential possibilities. I was done feeling invisible, done feeling like an afterthought in my family's narrative. Maybe I didn't owe them a thing anymore. That was the first step, the realization that I had the power to reclaim my autonomy. I pulled out my phone and did something I had never done before. I deleted Olivia's number. Instantly, guilt washed over me, and for a fleeting moment, a storm brewed inside me like waves crashing against a cliff. But I forced myself to breathe, reminding my swirling thoughts that this wasn't abandoning her. It was creating a boundary. My heart tightened, but clarity seeped through the fog. For the first time in years, I felt light. Perhaps it was because I had finally chosen me over everything else. Months went by, each day marked with small victories. I embraced the space I'd created for myself, and gradually the silence became a relief instead of a burden. I took up painting, opened a new bank account, sought therapy, and most importantly, learned to fill my time with friends who appreciated who I was, not just how useful I could be. But of course, the universe has a way of throwing curveballs. Just as I was beginning to feel whole, I received a text from a mutual acquaintance saying Olivia was in trouble. I felt an instant fire ignite within me, old instincts kicking in that wanted to rush and save her. But I paused, taking a moment to reflect. Before responding, I searched my heart, once more confronted by a looming question. Would reaching out be love, or would it just be me reverting back to old patterns of overextending myself? That was the defining moment. I chose silence. And when my father called again, expecting a daughter who would swoop in to solve the crisis, I stood my ground. No more. Finally, I could hear their facade crack. In the release of those words, freedom surged through me. I let the silence resonate, not just as an end to their expectations, but as a doorway into my own self. Each text, each call, became an opportunity for reflection. I wouldn't respond for their sake alone. I would respond only if I'd chosen to. Through the depths of family conflict, I had unearthed something extraordinary. Every challenge became a mirror, teaching me resilience, my worth not stemming from them, but from within. And now the silence didn't feel like abandonment. It felt like reclamation. I wish I could say things were perfect, that every family wound healed overnight, but the truth is, healing takes time, and that's perfectly okay. It's in this journey that I discovered family is not a mere bloodline. It's woven into those who choose to show up when it matters most. So if you're out there, feeling lost in relationships, walking the tightrope of family expectations, hear me clearly. You don't have to bleed to earn love. You are enough, and sometimes, choosing yourself is the bravest thing you can do. Embrace the silence, breathe in the freedom, and redefine the narrative that once felt binding. You are more resilient than you realize, and it's time to perform for no one but yourself.